Picture this: a man lies motionless, his skull fractured, his brain bleeding, doctors whispering he'll never wake up. Yet against all odds, he not only survives but walks, talks, and thrives, with half his brain gone. This isn't science fiction, it's John's reality. Welcome to Mysteries Within, where we uncover true stories of human mysteries that defy the impossible. Today, we dive into the miracle of John Keller's recovery. A man whose brain rewired itself after a catastrophic injury. Was it sheer luck, science, or something beyond? Join us on this thrilling journey into the unknown. We've all had moments where our brains falter. You forget your keys on the kitchen counter, or you blank on a coworker's name mid-meeting. These glitches remind us our minds are complex, but fragile. Now, imagine losing half your brain, literally, and not just surviving but rebuilding a life. That's John Keller's story. On February 17, 2008, in McAllen, Texas, John, a 38-year-old contractor with sandy hair and a sturdy build, was riding his motorcycle. He was a husband, father, and church volunteer, known for his steady hands and warm smile. At 3 p.m., a car swerved into his lane, sending him spiraling 150 feet through the air, his body cartwheeling across 5 lanes before slamming headfirst onto the pavement. John's helmet cracked like an eggshell. Paramedics found him unresponsive, barely breathing, blood pooling beneath his head. At McAllen Medical Center, scans revealed a fractured skull, pelvis, and an intracranial hemorrhage, a brain bleed threatening his life. His wife, Yan, a 36-year-old teacher with kind eyes and dark hair, rushed to his side, clutching their 2 young children. Doctors induced a coma to stabilize him, warning Jan that John's chances of survival were slim. If he woke, they said, he'd likely be vegetative, unable to speak, move, or recognize his family. The temporal lobe, critical for speech, memory, and dexterity, was severely damaged. Jan prayed, refusing to lose hope. Let's pause for a relatable moment. Ever stood in a parking lot disoriented, unable to find your car? That's your brain struggling to map space and memory. For John, that map was shattered, yet something extraordinary was brewing. 9 days later, on February 26, 2008, John was transferred to a Houston hospital, still comatose. His family learned a new term, traumatic brain injury, or TBI. A 2019 journal case study notes that severe TBIs often leave patients in a vegetative state, with only 12.5% achieving near-full recovery. John's odds were daunting, but his journey was just beginning. At the hospital, John's condition stabilized, but he remained unresponsive. His eyes were vacant, his body tethered to tubes. Jan and their children visited daily, singing hymns and reading stories, hoping to spark a response. Weeks passed with no change. Then, in April 2008, John was admitted to Tier Memorial Hermann, a top rehabilitation hospital. Dr. Luz Tastard, a physiatrist in her 40s with a calm demeanor, assessed John as being in a vegetative state, with autonomic instability, his body struggling to regulate basic functions. The therapy team, led by speech therapist Michael Gettleman, a 30-something with a sharp mind, saw a flicker in John's eyes. "He's in there," Gettleman said, sensing potential where others saw none. What allowed John's brain to defy expectations? The answer lies in a human mystery called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. A 2007 study explains that neuroplasticity involves synaptic plasticity, where neurons form new connections, and structural plasticity, like dendritic remodeling and axonal sprouting. After injury, healthy brain areas can take over damaged functions, a process driven by repetitive practice. For John, this meant intensive therapy. At Tier, therapists pushed him daily, even in his coma. They moved his limbs, spoke to him, and played music, stimulating his brain to rebuild neural pathways. By May 2008, John transitioned to a minimally conscious state, occasionally tracking objects with his eyes. His family brought workout clothes as therapists insisted on aggressive rehabilitation. Imagine trying to recall a childhood memory, like the smell of your grandmother's kitchen, only to find it fuzzy. John's brain was like that, grasping at fragments. Therapists used constraint-induced movement therapy, forcing his weakened limbs to move, preventing reliance on coping strategies. A 2023 article highlights how such therapies leverage neuroplasticity, encouraging healthy brain regions to compensate for damaged ones. John's progress was slow but astonishing. By July 2008, he began blinking purposefully, then muttering words. His first clear word, Jan, brought tears to his wife's eyes. Speech therapy focused on repetitive vocal exercises, rewiring his temporal lobe's speech circuits. A 2013 study notes that young brains like John's at 38 are more plastic, especially with early intervention. His motor therapy included standing exercises despite his fractured pelvis to retrain balance. Music therapy, using familiar church hymns, sparked emotional responses, activating memory circuits, as a 2015 article on neuroplasticity suggests. Let's connect to another everyday scenario. Ever fumbled through a new skill like learning to ride a bike, only to nail it after practice? That's neuroplasticity at work, strengthening neural connections through repetition. For John, every therapy session was like learning to ride again. By October 2008, he could sit up, feed himself, and speak simple sentences. His children, ages 8 and 10, cheered as he waved, his movements shaky but deliberate. Jan wrote on social media, "Our new normal is a miracle," echoing a sentiment from John's 2010 book chronicling his journey. But recovery wasn't linear. John faced setbacks, mood swings, memory lapses, and moments of frustration. A 2016 article explains that neuroplasticity can be maladaptive, reinforcing negative patterns like irritability if not guided. Cognitive therapy, 3 times weekly, helped John rebuild mental clarity. By early 2009, he walked with a cane, his gait uneven but determined. His IQ, tested later, was above average, a testament to his brain's resilience, similar to a case in where a TBI survivor regained near-normal cognition. What makes John's case a human mystery? Scientists like Norman Doidge argue neuroplasticity allows miracle recoveries, but skeptics like Tamar Makin in a 2023 study caution that the brain doesn't rewire entirely, it taps latent abilities through training. John's brain likely redistributed functions from his damaged temporal lobe to his frontal and parietal lobes, as a 2019 article on hemispherectomy patients suggests. His youth and therapy timing were critical, per a 2023 study, as plasticity peaks in younger adults. By mid-2009, John left TIR, walking and talking, though with limitations. He returned to work part-time, restoring buildings, his hands steadier but not perfect. He sang in his church choir, his voice rough but heartfelt, and traveled to Mexico for mission work, as noted in a 2023 article. His right side remained weaker, and he occasionally spoke without a filter, a quirk Jan found endearing. A 2015 piece on Doidge's work highlights how such recoveries require grit and persistent effort, not magic. Let's relate this to another universal moment. Ever lost your way in a new city, only to find your bearings after wandering? Your brain adapted, mapping new routes. John's brain did this on a grand scale, rerouting functions across its remaining half. His family played a key role, their support akin to a GPS guiding him. A 2018 article on a child's brain recovery notes that family involvement boosts plasticity, a factor in John's success. John's story echoes other extreme cases, like Maura Lieb, who lost half her brain at 9 months yet plays soccer at 15, per a 2023 report. Maura's brain rewired word and face recognition to one hemisphere, a feat John's brain mirrored for speech and memory. A 2019 study of a teen TBI survivor underscores that early aggressive therapy can defy grim prognoses, as seen in John's case. His recovery wasn't perfect, he processes words slowly and tires easily, but it was miraculous. Science offers more clues. A 2000 Nobel Prize-winning study by Eric Kandel cited in showed learning strengthens neural connections, switching on genes that alter brain structure. John's therapy likely triggered such changes, with long-term potentiation, LTP, enhancing synapses, per a 2023 review. Yet mysteries remain. Was John's recovery driven by therapy alone, or did his faith, as Jan believed, play a role? A 2016 quote from neuroscientist V.S. Ramachandran likens such cases to a talking pig. You study the anomaly, not demand more pigs. By 2010, John published his book, sharing his story at churches and conferences. He walked without a cane, though his stride was cautious. His children, now teens, teased him about his bluntness, a lingering TBI trait. Jan, reflecting on their journey, said, "God's plan was better than normal." A sentiment from John's brain, once a shattered puzzle, had reassembled itself, not perfectly but remarkably, as if solving its own mystery. What does John's story reveal about our brains? If half a brain can rewire to restore a life, what untapped potential lies within us all? Perhaps your forgotten keys or fumbled words hint at a mind capable of miracles, waiting for the right spark. Is neuroplasticity a scientific marvel, a divine gift, or both? This is Mysteries Within, where we chase brain secrets and human mysteries that leave us in awe. If John's journey blew your mind, hit subscribe and join us for more. What do you think? Can our brains overcome any obstacle, or is there a limit to their magic? Drop your thoughts in the comments and watch our next video for another enigma. Until then, keep exploring the mysteries within.